RFK Racing is set to announce a third full-time chartered entry for 2025, backed by Kroger, driven by Ryan Preece. But where is this charter coming from? Welcome back to the Breaking Balls channel. It's Bob here. We're just a few days away from the NASCAR playoffs kicking off in Atlanta, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'll keep you in the loop for everything NASCAR related in the garage. I didn't do a video on this, but I will note just to start this video, there's been some rumors about Alex Bowman speculating his 2025 plans the last few days on social media. Bowman was quick to refute that, but just sounds like the rumor is that if he doesn't make the next round of the NASCAR playoffs, he could be out of that Hendrick Motorsports number 48 seat that he's been in for a long time now. But again, just rumors, speculation. I don't think there's anything to it, but in my tinfoil hat world, if there's anyone that's going to replace Alex Bowman in that 48, I would look to see Carson Hocevar potentially in that 48 while Alex Bowman jumps to that Spire number 7. But again, that's just in a world where everything goes wrong for the 48 the next few weeks. Just wanted to note that in the video because it has been notable on social media to the point where Alex Bowman had to at least call his management at Hendrick Motorsports to at least ask if there's anything to this. But again, just some silly season rumors as of now. But the main news that broke last night, Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic is reporting RFK is set to run a third chartered NASCAR Cup Series car in 2025, backed by Kroger, with Ryan Preece set to be the driver in that third RFK entry for 2025. It's been rumored for a few weeks now in the garage, but this looks like some concrete evidence. It's finally happening. Ryan Preece reuniting with Kroger and former teammate Chris Buescher from their JTD Doherty days. Very nice to see Ryan Preece staying in the Cup Series garage. For Kroger, it's a big sponsorship deal coming over for RFK. They were full-time with JTD Doherty for the last few years. It's a big sponsorship deal that JTD Doherty is missing out on there, and a huge win for RFK Racing when most of the garage was pushing for it. I know as of the spring, Joe Gibbs Racing was actually the favorite to land Kroger in this deal, but RFK Racing with a massive push this summer to get not only a major sponsor, but for Ryan Preece, he's a Kevin Harvick Incorporated represented driver. He's a guy that doesn't bring a ton of funding, but is very, very popular with sponsors that he does work with and has a very, very rabid fan base that is dedicated and hardcore. We need more drivers like that. He's a working man's driver, not just sponsor funded. We need guys like Ryan Preece in the garage. But my question is, where is this charter coming from, seemingly out of nowhere? I know Brad Keselowski has teased expanding RFK's third entry as early as January this year, but it seems like they've just kind of been in the background of all of this expansion this summer, while teams like Trackhouse, Front Row, 2311 have been jumping at these charters. RFK's just been kind of sitting in the back, just watching it all happen. So I wonder where this charter's come from. I've got 3 different options I want to run by, but number one, the most likely option is that they bought the last SHR charter right from under 2311 Racing. Of course, Denny Hamlin and NASCAR have been going back and forth with the charter issues and their agreement in the media. So maybe Denny Hamlin has just been waiting to make some kind of deal. And he waited too long, and RFK Racing came in at the last moment and bought this charter from Stewart-Haas Racing. They're going to sell 2 charters back to Ford and keep it in the Ford OEM house. But again, maybe Denny Hamlin in 2311 waited. I think the more likely option, in my personal opinion, is that they either bought or leased a charter from Ware Racing. Probably the number 15 car, if I had to guess, just because there is a technical alliance that has been agreed upon as of last year. You've seen Ware Racing and their drivers and their cars go up in speed this year, notably compared to the back charters they normally are. I think that alliance has been building there, and I think for technical reasons, they're going to buy a third charter from that Rick Ware 15 car. Rick Ware has technically no drivers scheduled in that seat next year. I know Justin Haley is probably going to be in that 51 unless he jumps to the Spire 7. But for Rick Ware, what do you do with that extra car? You sell it to your sister team. You get more technical support from RFK than when you give them that extra charter, and you get to support just that one car, that 51 car for Rick Ware Racing. I think that's the most likely one, just with all the ties already there, and just the fact that there's uncertainty with Rick Ware's sponsorship and drivers next year. But there's also one more dark horse. I don't think this one is as likely, just because this would have to change charters from Chevy to Ford. I don't think they're going to do this, but Kaulig Racing has an open charter seat next year. They have AJ Allmendinger full-time back in that 16 seat next year. All is well with the world. But for that 31 car, it is still undetermined yet what they're going to do with it. Daniel Hemrick has been filling it this year. But for Kaulig, it seems like they've kind of bit off a little bit more that they could chew, trying to expand the last few years with 2 Cup Series charters now. They've still got the 3 Xfinity drivers. I think maybe Kaulig could be one of those teams that is still on the outside looking in as far as maybe selling one of their charters to a team that is just kind of kicking the tires down the line. I don't think that's the likeliest of options, just because, like I said, I don't think Chevy is going to give away one of their charters just to a Ford OEM team just like that, especially RFK. But I think those are the three most likely options. I think it's going to be a Rick Ware charter going to Ryan Preece for that third RFK charter for Kroger and RFK in 2025. But again, a massive, massive domino. Brad Keselowski teased it in January. We've kind of seen RFK as kind of in the background, like I said, all summer with this expansion going on, with this frenzied expansion going on with Stewart-Haas Racing shutting their doors. But it sounds like RFK will be having a third full-time entry in the 2025 season. Let me know down below, what do you think is going to happen with this charter? Where do you think it's coming from? What do you think is going to happen down the line as far as the next domino for silly season? Is Alex Bowman safe? I'm very curious to see what all happens the next few weeks as far as the NASCAR playoffs and how that shakes up silly season for 2025. But again, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more here at Breaking Balls.